Right, Eddie and Lynn, we're at number 67 here for you. We've started our video. This is video number 1. There'll be a few of them. This first video concerns the roof, the outer walls, the outer damp-proof courses, fascias, soffits, gutters, and so on. So we've been up on the roof. The roof is relatively new. It's a dry fix system, so the ridge tiles are fitted without mortar. They're screwed into position. They're all in good order, as you would expect. The roof tiles are Marley Modern, which is the make and style of tile that they are, and they're generally in good condition. We found a few little comments that we would make about them. In places, the tiles are very tight. And you can see just here that they've been put into a tight space and they're kicking slightly. There's a few instances of this on the back as well, particularly up here at the top on the opposite side, where the tiles are kicking and they're a bit tight. I think we've got a small peak in the roof just here. I suspect that's where an original gable wall was, and this is where the house was extended here, so I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. With regards to the gutters, we've been round the whole house. The gutters are reasonably clean, and with one exception round the back, there's no standing sediment in them. There's a small area around the back which I'll show you, but the gutters seem in good order and they're clean and they're working correctly. This downspout here drains correctly. There are some issues on the back which I'll come to in a moment, but before we move around there, I want to point out that on the front elevation here, the damp-proof membrane is at this level here, and it is about 75 mil above ground level, which is an acceptable minimum. However, as we move around to where the disabled ramp has been constructed, the damp-proof course is where Craig's pointing to there. It's actually below ground level, so effectively what that means is that this path here is bridging the damp-proof course, and there's no gap here. If that was a gap and we filled it with stones, that would address that particular problem. It may cause damp transmission into the hallway here in the future. There's a small issue on the back as well. I'll move around and show you. Around the back, about 4 meters in, there's 2 kick tiles up there. With regard to the gutters on the rear elevation, there's a low point here where there's a little bit of sediment catching, but it's negligible. I wouldn't even worry about that. It's neither here nor there. Damp-proof course is well above ground level here, but when we get to the patio area, it's within 25 mil of there. However, in this instance, they've fitted an eco storm drain here, so we can effectively disregard that problem on the rear elevation. Now, moving on to the rear downspout here, this is a mistake. This has been fitted here. What we should have a downspout going down and straight into the gully, and a diverter going in to fit this up here. So what happens here is that everything goes into this, and once this is full, as it is right now, of course it starts overflowing, and you're going to end up with damp problems here, which have already started, as you can see. So that needs correction. Again, on the rear elevation here, we've got the outlet for the central heating. I don't know if you can see there, it's just starting to distort the UPVC over the top there. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Worst case scenario, you may have to put an expansion joint in there. The fences of the perimeter of the property seem to be new and in good condition, with one slight problem, that's the gate. The gate's catching and doesn't latch properly, essentially because of poor workmanship. We've found no evidence of cracking, movement or subsidence in any of the external brickwork. So yeah, it seems good at the moment. End of this first report.